Bienvenido, caballero, a otro capítulo de Holy Spanglish, a donde se habla de todo un poco con
Mari y
Lynn. Hoy vamos a tener un poquito de twist. We're going to have a little bit of twist today. We're going to have this podcast in English, Mari.
Yes, again.
So, nos toca, tú sabes, hablar un poquito más inglés. Van a aprender un poquito de inglés, de francés, de todo un poco hoy aquí.
Oh, yeah.
¿Ok? Porque cuando nosotros dijimos que íbamos a hablar de todo un poco, de verdad que íbamos a hablar de todo un poco.
De todo un poco.
Yep.
And Holy Spanglish. In Spanish.
Yep.
English, Spanish.
Yep.
Spanish.
Yeah. So yeah. So today we have a topic that I brought up that I think is so important because, especially for the community, because I myself was interested I'll say since my daughter was like in second grade regarding this. So I started educating little by little. I'm not fully there, but out of all the people that have explained to me how they homeschool their kids, these parents are super cool.
Yeah.
They make it seem so fun. I see the results because they're with the fruits that their kids are showing, especially the oldest one, right? And I see that it's not just a trend, like they say, it's not just because right now people are pulling kids out of public school. No, actually, they're getting educated. And sometimes myself, I don't know about you, feel like I'm not a teacher. I don't have the patience.
Yes.
I'm not educated enough to teach my daughter, et cetera, et cetera. But I right now have done so much. She has helped me to go into different programs because I do want to pull my smartest daughter out of public school and put her in homeschool. Now, have you ever thought about that, Mary?
Yes, I have with my youngest daughter. One day she did say, I mentioned it to her and she said, Mama, I want to, she probably doesn't even know what she's asking, but she said, I want to, because she don't want to go to school.
She's one of those.
I want to stay home. I want to do homeschooling. But I was like, and then I asked, she came to her dad and said, I said, well, you're going to have to ask your dad. He said, Daddy, can it be homeschooling? He said, you have to ask your mom.
Like, so you threw the ball back and forth.
So I thought about it because of everything that has been happening in school, and it's kind of scary, you know. But I don't know too much about the topic. I will learn today, like many people probably out there that wants to do it, wants to go that route, but they don't know much about it. Like you said, I say the same thing, like how I'm gonna teach my daughter. Like I'm not a teacher, you know. I'm like plus I'm Spanish. You know, I'm Dominican and I did not study in English. My first language is in Spanish. So how I'm going to do it? How can I do it? And I will learn about that today.
Yep. Because not only that this couple homeschool, but they're from two different parts of the world, you know? So with that said, I want to introduce my friend, Francie and Anthony. Welcome to Holy Spanglish. How are you guys feeling today?
Yes,
feeling good? Yeah.
Very good. Yes.
Yeah, I'm so glad you guys, accepted the invitation. To me, you guys are amazing parents. We share our kids in karate, so that's how we met. I introduced them to Mary and Dab. We have shared multiple gatherings, and their kids and them are amazing. Not only that, they make it seem very easy. So she sat down with us and educated us, and I'm like, I gotta have her on a podcast and explain it. So I want to start with, did you always wanted to homeschool your kids before you educated? Was that always in your heart, like to homeschool? Were you homeschooled?
No, absolutely not.
No.
So in France, it's not really a trend. It's not really happening.
So you're from
France, and even like 3 years ago, you would have told me like homeschool. I was like, no way. My kid's gonna drive me crazy, and I know I cannot do it. So it was little by little. It was like a journey. Like I say, you plant seed, you meet people on your way that make you feel, oh, I can do it. We can do it. So yeah.
So that's how it started. Okay.
Yeah.
Was Anthony, were you homeschooled as a kid?
No, not at all.
School?
Of course, yeah.
Where are you from?
Jamaica.
Okay.
I was born in Jamaica, but I grew up here in the States. So I came here when I was 4 years old. And yeah, as soon as I came, I just went straight into public school.
And did you like your experience with public school? Or?
Well, I couldn't compare it with anything. So,
so you were okay when you guys decided together like to homeschool your kids?
No, because like originally, like the main question that comes up is your kid is not gonna have any friends, and I'm like, oh yeah, this guy loves to talk, and who is he gonna talk to? Oh, he's gonna be talking to me all day. I'm like, oh man. So we got to find him like some friends. We got to figure out like what he's gonna do to like socially interact with other kids. So I'm like, man, we got to find them friends, and just didn't know how it was gonna work
out, right? At first. Now, to be clear, do you both homeschool? Like you do each your part, or is it one of the parent that does the homeschool?
One. Yes, one.
One. I'm assuming already which one is it?
But I help out when she's not there, or she has to go to work to do to do her classes and everything.
Mm-hmm.
So that's the thing, is like,
you're a teacher, Frenchie?
Yeah. What happened is like he thinks that I'm the one, but it's not true, because again, homeschool is not only academic. You're teaching your kids life skill. And he is doing stuff on the weekend because, of course, he worked from Monday to Friday until 5 p.m. So he's not as available. However, whatever he does on the weekend, this is stuff that I cannot do. He does the STEM. He does like this weekend, he was doing some craft. Like the Home Depot little craft that you have once a month.
Yes.
He go get them, and and like knowing how to use wood and a hammer. It's life skills. So those things, he does it. And for me, it's part of homeschooling, because homeschooling is not only the academic that he will do in a public school or in a private school. It's way more than that. And this is, so yes, it's part two.
So technically homeschool, you could, it's fair to say that it's like 7 days a week if you want to, because you're teaching them constantly, like science and history and, building something in Home Depot, et cetera, et cetera. So it will go into the curriculum. Holy Spanglish. They're going to homeschool me. So fair to say that, right? Because I do notice that in a lot of parents. Like one of my good friends in church, Danny, she was the first one educating me, and my little sister on it when about 5 years ago we were trying to do it before it was like a trend. But I do notice that she would even take them to the zoo and do like something with the zoo and ask them questions and do projects with it and all that. Is that fair to say that's part of homeschooling?
Of course. Whatever your kid is interested, you have to nourish your kid. By nature, a child is curious. By nature, all kids, they want to learn, they want to know what's going on. The thing is that at school, it's kind of dim, because they're like, yeah, that's what it is, learning. So when you kind of keep this light on to nourish what they're curious for, it's just amazing.
Yeah, and you touched something there that I'm assuming, because it happens to me. The reason why I want to put my daughter out of school, to me, all kids learn differently, and you point that out because you're a teacher. And I explained to you like privately what I'm going through with my daughter, and I feel like not only she's in a classroom full of way too much kids, all right, she's also the child that I had to fight for with the school to pull her out for more reading time, for more math time, because I know as her mom that she needed smaller groups too, which they do exist in school. But it's something sad to say that you have to have like multiple meetings to be able to pull them out. And then she actually advanced once I pulled out, and she was in like a group of 5 or 6. You know what I mean? But some of these kids don't have parents that could be able to do that for them. So regarding homeschool, Anthony mentioned something. He was fearing that the kids would not have that social life. Do you still experience that right now?
Wow.
I know the answer, because obviously your kids play with my kids.
Well, he had his birthday the other day in April. And, when you go to like places like Chuck E. Cheese, it's per child.
Yeah.
And so when everybody showed up, I'm over here counting heads. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. And it started to get past 10. And then it's like almost 20. I'm like, yo, how many people does this boy know? And it's like,
he got more famous?
I guess. But I'm looking at my wallet. I'm like, oh man. But, for the most part, with the programs he's in, there are other kids there too. Yeah. So I forget what they call them, pods or something.
Yeah.
Where like other parents, they just meet up and
what are they called?
Pods. Co-op.
Co-ops. Yeah. Pods. Yeah. But this program, it was a particular one, the Forest School. Yeah. And in there, it's just like other homeschool kids, and it's just like a ton of them. So there's no way he's not gonna, have those social skills.
Yeah. And there's something that we have to understand also with school, whatever it's public or private, is that it's forced socialization. We force our kids to be in the classroom with kids of their age. They don't have to be friends, but we kind of put them together. And the socialization time per se is very short. The cafeteria time, they sometimes cannot even talk anymore. They cannot be loud. And they even take recess away. Like we had this experience with his, when he was in public school, that he didn't have recess anymore. So the socialization at school is not something, again, that will be fulfilling a child's social, skill. Now, what happened is that you talk about the birthday, is that it was Shakiti's the Saturday afternoon, but the Thursday we did it at Forest School, the program he goes to on Thursday. Friday he did it with his French classmates. Saturday morning he did it karate. So the thing is, like, you, again, homeschooling doesn't mean that you are home at all. You can decide to stay home. But with the kid, like we have, there's no way that is possible. So we meet other parents that homeschool. We also go to a program at the library. The library here in South Florida have excellent program. We're very grateful to have, and for free. Like we have in our local library in Pembroke Park, we have STEM program with the Forest Museum. Frost. Yeah. And so the other Saturday, he learned about rocks, geology. The month before, it was about the sharks. Like they had the teeth of the shark and all of that. That's amazing. Cool. They could touch. So again, you will like go to the thing that your kid is interested in, and he will find his peers. And at Forest School, the amazing thing that they're outside the whole day. Kids are meant to be outside. They're not meant to be in four walls. And so, again, he's with kids from 5 years, even 4 years old up to 9. And the age doesn't matter. Kind of Montessori style. Yeah. And so when it comes to socialization, kids can be with older kids. They are going to find their peer, And so homeschooling allowed that. And this is, and one thing that I wanted to add also is that for the parents that listen to the podcast, and I don't want them to feel any judgment on their choice of parenting, because it's really important to know that you have your own circumstances. Maybe you want to do it, but you can't financially, or you want to do it, but you don't feel that you are capable because you don't have the skill or whatever, or maybe you don't believe in it, And so this conversation is really coming from a place of, inspiration and compassion and love. And I want everybody to feel like, because when we feel about public school and our choice to take our kids from it, I don't want parents to feel bad about like, oh, that's the choice that I'm making, because it's not about that. It's about we're all trying to make the best solution for our kid,
but I'm glad that you guys speak up, because a lot of us sometimes don't even speak up and feel that we want to homeschool our kids, but you being very opinionated by it with so much love and grace, it impacts, You touched a topic regarding finances. Is it more expensive to homeschool?
So,
you want me to take this one?
Go for it, Anthony.
The snack are expensive. Your child is always hungry and want to eat. Always hungry and want to eat that. So we have been very blessed to be able to do it, and and we are very grateful for this chance. Once again, God will provide. So you don't have to, like, I understand the concern, and there is financial choice to make. The fact that I work less, our budget is tighter. Then you make choice. We're not taking the same vacation, for example, or we're not really spender, but I would say the budget that was the most impacted is our vacation. Like, for example, this summer we're not going to France, but we're still able to go to Colorado.
Okay.
I mean, you know what I'm saying? Like,
yeah.
So it's important to, again, know that abundance will come with your choice.
Yeah.
And you have to believe that God will provide. You don't have to worry about that.
100%.
Now, we have the chance in Florida to have the Step Up program. And this is really a chance. Now, what the Step Up program is like the state has decided that parents that want to homeschool can have a grant up to $8,000. It's not money that they give you. Just it's not like bank account. No. You usually have to pay ahead and get reimbursed, or sometimes you have provider that you're gonna go to a marketplace and take the. But the thing is like strictly for that, and it go fast because, for example, the first school program cover that, and it's covered by the scholarship. So it's definitely helpful. However,
so there is help. At least in our state, in Florida, there is help.
We have the chance of having that. Now, we would have done it regardless. It helps, but our choice was made before that, before knowing if we would be eligible or not. So.
Okay, your children are young because we're talking about your kids. They're very young, I'm guessing. Like they start in the kindergarten, probably first grade, or is they older?
Our son is going to third grade.
Third grade, and you say you've been homeschooling for 3 years now, so
no, it's our first year.
It's the first year.
We're still a baby. We're still baby homeschoolers.
Oh, he did second grade.
Yeah. Okay,
so we experienced public school. That's why we know. Like some parents they know from the get-go.
That was my next question. Like how hard it is, because when a child, I said my daughter is in kindergarten, she's going to first grade. If I wanted to do homeschooling with her from kindergarten, it was going to be easier for me because that's all she probably knew. But then when you pull the kids, like she's interested, like her daughter is already going to a higher grade, middle school, and how hard it is to pull a child that know everything about being in traditional school to homeschooling, And I'm pretty sure maybe a lot of mothers or family feel the same way out there. And what is the challenge? Because we want the best for our children, but what about what they want,
Yeah.
I mean, well, again, I will take the experience of our son and how we came to that. The kindergarten went pretty well.
Yeah.
He had a great teacher. First grade was horrible. Due to the teacher, but not only that, we started to see that the way our son was learning was not fitting school. Like he was going faster in math and he was being bored because he was done with whatever work he had to do. And then we had behavior issue because he was bored and he had nothing else to do than to bother his friends. And the teacher didn't know how to handle that, So when you have a kid that is quick, then it's also a problem in a sense because I understand the teacher has 20-ish kids, but it was, then we, what happened is like the day, like I say, 3 years ago, I would say, no way, I'm going to homeschool my kid. 2 years ago, the seed was starting to be in my head because I meet friends that were thinking about it or already doing it. And then 1 year ago, when we took the leap, it was, we were coming from a teacher parents conference. And at night, we're talking about our child behavior in class, and it was difficult for the teacher. And at night, I had this book about emotion, and I sit down with my son, and we read the emotion book, and we arrive to the color blue, which is sadness. And I was like, what make you sad? And he started being, going cover his head, and he's just like crying. And I tried to, have a conversation with him, like, what's going on? You have to talk to me. You have to understand. And he was like, Mama, you don't understand. They want me to behave and sit down for 6 hours. I can't. He was telling me that in tears. I was like, oh my God, I can't. So it was like, this day I decided, I was like, that's it. We can't have this child be so, unhappy, And he's a great learner, but it was just not working for him.
So being homeschooling, it totally changes your family dynamic. It's how do you make time for your marriage? It's being, managing, parenting, and homeschooling. It's like a full-time job,
right?
All day.
Do you want to take this one?
How do we make time for our marriage? Time, yeah. that is very important because there are times, every day you're always tired. And the kids are always around you. We got a baby, and then we got a son who's homeschooled, so he's always in our face. And I believe that we understand, they're always going to be around us, and we just accept that fact. And we just do what we can. Some nights all we can do is just sit down and watch a movie or something like that. On Fridays, the family gets together and we just watch like a family friendly movie. But when it comes to us, you gotta get in where you fit in. You know,
you embrace it.
But I think it's the same thing when kids go to school, because like if parents work the whole day, you meet in the evening time. The whole evening is dedicated to your kids' bedtime routine, whatever activity they have, and by the time they're in bed, you're just like, So homeschooling doesn't really.
You pointed out a big point there, because if I compare the homeschool parents that are next to me and us that have our kids in public school, we look like we don't have enough time in the day, and we have our kids in school. I see more freedom within you guys, even with your activities. Most of you guys make it on time to karate way more than us that have our kids in public school. Most of your kids ate dinner before going to the activity. So I do see a lot of benefit that I personally would love for my kids. You know what I mean? Believe it or not, I know a lot of people say like, oh my God, so I'm not there yet. It's hard because you're not going to have the time, but you pointed out something. When you have your kid in public school, where are you?
At work.
At work, correct?
At work, yeah.
And then you technically don't know, this is the way I feel, what your kid learned. Because most of her kids, she was telling me, she sits her daughter down in the car as soon as you pick her up, and what she said she learned?
The same thing.
ABC.
Yeah.
So
But
you
we all
don't
said
have
that.
no control of the
that.
8 hours that you just waste, that your kid just wasted in school. Hopefully not to all of us. I'm not knocking down all of it, but I have experienced more teachers telling us to homeschool our kids and their teachers in school. So that's what surprises me.
So
and you're a teacher yourself.
Yeah. So in the decision of homeschooling, because I did like a pro and con columns, because I'm very like, okay, what are the pro and what are the con of homeschooling before we took the decision? And one huge one was like taking back control of who our son was becoming. Because the thing is, like, when you, like, your child is in school, you are not in control. And he was only 6 when we were like, whoa, the language, the behavior, the values. He's around kid that, he was coming home with some, like, crazy stuff. I was like,
I'm like,
oh,
whoa,
no.
who are you hanging around with?
No. And it's just like,
grade.
and
yeah.
in first grade, in kindergarten, first grade, it was more like, and
no, because when they go to school, you don't know the culture in which the other kids are in or situation that they're in,
Exactly.
And sometimes they have like older siblings that put them onto stuff, and they just take that stuff and bring it to school, and the kids like, hey, what's that? Oh, this is X, Y, and Z. And we're like, wow, I need X, Y, and Z at home, you know? And it's just like so many influences around your child when they're out and about. But this can happen anywhere, whether in homeschool or public school. But at the same time, it's just like when you are doing like the homeschool programs, you're around other kids with the same values.
Exactly. Like, for example, the forest school program, we are with mom, usually because it's the mom that come, but you have a dad also.
Well, you're there.
But I mean, you dropped your kid, and we don't just drop the kid, we stay. We have our coffee, we're going to stay another 30 minutes before the kids do their circle time and whatever, and you discuss, and you have the same value when it comes to your child, first of all, your education, and like society, how you think stuff, your values. And when you're a person that religion is very important for you, then you're going to be around those people too, and you're going to give more of those values to your child. If you're in school, you have the time to do Bible study if you want with your child. This is something that is your
next question.
You know what I'm saying?
Told us that.
And it's just like, for example, for me, I emphasize more the French, because then I have more time for him, and this is important for me. So when you homeschool, you're more in control. You get back the control of your kid. Because right now that I don't know if it was like that for us when we were a kid. I don't feel like, but it feels like no. But I'm saying, like, he was 6, and I was like, wait, I'm losing him already. And I was just so scared. I'm like,
you just threw something that I think is so important, because I feel like all of us want the best for our kids. I believe, and I hope and pray that everybody that's looking at this podcast wants the best for their kids. But I think, how old is your son?
He's 8 now.
8 years old. We have to try to protect as much as we can la inocencia. ¿Cómo se?
The kid's innocence.
The innocence of a child. And I do notice that from all the very good friends that I have, their parents, how homeschool, that helps so much, because you have more control. Yes, Anthony did said, they're going to be exposed of a lot of things in certain places, But once the child sees something, he cannot unsee it.
Mm-hmm.
Once the child was exposed to something, that's it. So we have to try to protect. Like I have a 12-year-old and I have a 15-year-old at home right now. I have to make sure and try my best that my 12-year-old is not an 18-year-old, because they only have this small window of being kids. That's it.
Yeah.
After that, we're adults for the rest of our lives. And that's what I noticed. The nature and the love that kids project when they're in homeschool, even the ones that are hyper. We had a visitor here, Jesus, Black Belt Jesus. You're gonna see his podcast. It's in Spanish. His mom mentioned how he was super hyper, right? And they had to like seek help and put him in karate and put him in this. Parents need to recognize each child is different. I never thought of homeschooling my two oldest. But with Allie, I feel like I'm going to give it a try. If it works out, it doesn't work out, I'll put her back in public school. Thank God we're in a state and in a country that we could do that, you know? So,
that's great.
No, it's amazing. I mean, it make me want to go and just like research more, do more research and have, because it is scary nowadays how everything has been changed. It's not like when we were in school. All this law, all these things that even the curriculum has changed in school. My daughter went to kindergarten. I remember, when we were in school, the different way of teaching. We learned like different. Now she has to start reading in kindergarten, in reading, knowing the number, doing math, doing subtraction. For some kids, it's okay. They are already there. But what about those kids that are not there? So everybody's put the same 20 kids in one curriculum when everybody and the teacher is not gonna sit with one kid alone. It's gonna go to the 20 children. The same curriculum is for the 20 children. So it's very interesting. It is. This is a very good topic.
The thing is, like, again, the reading in kindergarten doesn't make sense, because when you study the brain, the brain is not ready for that. But they don't think about the kids, they think about their test.
Yes.
They think about founding the thing. So when we think, again, it's the same thing with recess. How can you take recess away when it's a biological need for a child to move? This is, if he moves, then he will be able to focus and study. So it doesn't make no sense. The school is not made for the kids. It is not. And the thing is that we worrying about reading. A child, I have seen a lady that was saying she was homeschooled and she started, I don't remember her name, it was on Instagram. She was homeschooled and she started reading at 12, very late. But you know what? When she started reading and she find the topic that she liked, then she was just books on books on books, because she had a purpose of why I want to read, and now she has her own, like business. She had podcasts. She doing amazing. So just respect everybody, time, like the way they're gonna develop,
the speed that they learn.
Yeah. And when our son was in the public school, we saw the homework that he used to get, and we were looking at it like, damn, this is hard.
I have to do the homework with my daughter.
And so like it was just like, because he went to a school with like people from all cultures or whatever. And I'm looking at I'm like, yo, can you imagine the parents that don't even know English that well, what type of help their kid is gonna get, And we were English speakers, and this was like, wow, what exactly does this mean?
English speaker, just when you tell me about like a long vowel or a short vowel, I have no idea.
What happens to me? I did not learn phonics when I was in school. I just went straight to speaking English. And it's kind of hard. Like, I'm really learning with her, and all these things. But when we had a meeting in school, it was not only me. Even the parents that are English speakers had the same issues. They bring to school this homework, and I have to do it for her, not with her. For her, so I was like, this is different. Like, it was brand new for me, mind you, this is my second daughter, but my oldest daughter is 22 years old already. It was very different when she went to school, and everything is brand new, and it's even harder for me as a mother. So it's I can only imagine how many parents
and I see that you guys you have like a little bit more freedom to choose what your child should be able to be learning and not wasting so much time throughout the day. But there is a lot of, I believe, topic, homework, whatever, in public school that the kid doesn't really not gonna need in the future. You know, so you do.
Can you choose?
Yeah, there's different
Florida,
curriculums and everything.
Yeah, again, we are in a state that allow us to be very free about the curriculum that we choose. We don't have so much control from our local government, which is, I mean, for me it's great, but I know like our other state way stricter. Like they have visit in the house, they have to say how many days, you know, attendance kind of thing. We don't have that in Florida.
Attendance at home?
Yeah, like you have to check.
That.
You have to check the day where, you know, and you have to kind of reach the same amount of day that he would have in public school. Yeah. So in Florida, we're very lucky to have a state that allows us to do whatever we want. And I think when we base the learning on the child interests, like it flow way easier than, you know, and the thing is, like, again, like for people that think that they're not able to do it, like they don't feel like they have the skill, like I was telling you, Lynn, is just like you are the best person to educate your child because you're the one that know him or her the best. You know how he learned, she learned, you know her schedule, you know that she will be focused more in the morning or at the end of the afternoon. So you're gonna, you know, arrange your schedule according to the way she learned, what she likes to learn. Maybe she can do increments of 15 minutes. Maybe she can do 30 minutes. And it's going to involve, like, I changed my schedule over this first year so many times with our son. Like we start with the schedule and then we change because also, you know, different activity, but also our baby changes nap schedule. We have to adapt around the nap schedule. But yeah, you as a parent, we're the best teacher for our kids. And you know, like you learn with them, you know, and
I because we spoke a lot private. Now that you're talking, it reminded me. I shared, because a lot of parents might be going through this. Mary said her language. I share with Frenchie privately that I don't really ever share around. I'm dyslexia. And I told Frenchie, you seriously think that I could be able to homeschool my daughter, Allie? And she's like, she made me feel so confident. Frenchie made me feel so confident. Plus the colada. Okay? We got to put the colada. And she, yes, you could. And I could help you if you can. This is a community. Da, 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 da. She made me feel like, because a lot of parents, they might know English, but they might be struggling themselves. Like, how are you going to teach your kid if you guys that are not dyslexia are struggling first grade homework? Imagine somebody that's dyslexia but does know English.
Yeah.
What would you say to parents like that? Because I know you spoke to me privately, but what's the solution for a parent that will want to homeschool their kids?
The thing is, like, you as a parent, you have your strength. English is a language. We learn it as adult. It's not that hard. We don't need phonics. Honestly, look, we're doing a podcast in English today.
Yes.
Hey, the immigrants are here.
Yeah, baby.
Doing a podcast, you know. So the English is not going to be a problem for your child. So don't worry about that. What you can give to your child is Spanish. Tell them about the grammar. Tell them about, because Spanish is hard, and you're the best person to teach her. So yes, you're going to go and maybe use some books and find, you know, resources online and things like that. But at the end of the day, you have to ask her what she want to learn. And maybe you're going to make like flashcards and you're going to create content. Like, I love to create content, even though it takes time. And sometimes it's just like, okay, 10 minutes, done. I spent an hour doing my flashcard. But it's just so like, you know, and sometimes now I ask my son to help me create content. You know, we go to a website and say, hey, create this game for our French class, you know, like putting stuff together. And it's just like, you have to give to your kid your skills. And, you know, it's just.
You couldn't say it any better. Your skills. Because at the end of the day, our kids project what they're receiving from us. And I do get, and I know she does too, great feedbacks from our kids. You know, and I'm telling you, your two little ones, even the little one that's not really homeschool yet, okay? But you could see it. You could actually see the difference of the kids that are homeschooled in karate, in cheerleading, in baseball, whatever they're in. You really could see. And it doesn't even matter what belief you have, because you did point out something. I want to close with that. If you're Christian, there is programs that while you're teaching this is what you explained to me, and Danny, my friend, did too, because she uses those programs. You could use the Bible as a curriculum. Did I say it right?
Curriculum, yeah.
You know, so it's counted. So you're learning the Bible, and at the same time is credited as reading or whatever is the subject, correct? Or history.
Reading the Bible is hard. So if you have your kid read a page,
that's a skill.
That's a skill, right?
Skill right there, know. So
yeah.
And when we talk about skill, it's like Anthony bring whatever skill he has in terms of like STEM, computer,
whole bunch of randomness.
Yeah. But you give stuff that I could not give. So it's like it's a combination, and your husband will probably like have to come in the play and just see what he can teach your daughter also when it comes
tell her how to set up these mics.
Switch
cameras.
He have a lot to teach her. Yeah, if we do that, he has a lot to.
Because the thing is, like, we don't know what the job market will be. So we're not like, we don't know. So we don't need to prepare our kids for those, what they expect our kids to do. But and like, for job market, but we have to give them skill that they will be able to put in action. And I think being a person of good value is the best thing you start with that.
And start with that, right?
Yeah.
So before we close it up, I know you have an Instagram where you project a lot of say your Instagram, like you project teaching people how to speak French. I have no idea what she's saying, but I'm going. She's so cute because she makes it fun. She's involved her kids. So you want to let people know your Instagram and stuff like that?
Thank you. My Instagram is the French Formula. The website is the same name, and I do have a podcast. That's funny because you say that, because I have a podcast that I haven't created content for a while. But I have a project for this summer, and you inspire me, ladies, to get back on my podcast. Is to actually bring my son on the podcast, and we have dialogue, and I want him to help me write the dialogue, because the podcast that I create is like dialogue in French, and so people learn through real conversation. And so my plan is to bring my son in.
He was born to shine, baby. Let him shine.
So it's coming.
100%. We are gonna put in the bottom. I look over there, Deb. We are gonna put in the bottom her Instagram, their emails, all of that. Follow them. She is amazing. Her entire family is amazing. I think you guys should have a reality show for sure. But we are gonna put all it. But to close it up, do you guys want to say anything to Holy Spanglish family? We got a little bit of everybody there. By the way, our church is a lot of Jamaicans.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. Okay. So I get real good organic food. So, this Cuban here and this one over there, Dominicana, we know was real good Jamaican food.
Okay.
So, we want to close it up. Like, anything you guys want to say to our Holy Spanglish family?
Everybody's looking at me. All right. Everybody's looking at me. Yeah, if you guys are interested in homeschooling, most of us pretty much have already experienced what it's like to homeschool, because when lockdown happened, we're all together. Yeah. And, that was your first initial taste of what can be done. But, most people didn't enjoy the experience because it was like forced on us.
Yeah.
So I would say that, like, if it went okay, maybe it's similar to that. And the fact that you can have like a curriculum, let's say during lockdown, the teacher sent you assignments to do, and it's kind of similar, but you are the one guiding, like, oh, okay, we're going to do math right now. Oh, it's time for science, that type of thing. But for the most part, like, if you're interested in doing homeschool, you can always give it a try.
Yeah, and you're definitely gonna find it on Frenchie's social media, because she's very vocal, and you're also gonna learn some French while you at it. Exactly. She's a sweetheart, and she loves our Cuban coffee. Let me tell you, so all you 305s, okay? So thank you guys so much. Thank you. Oh my God, we're gonna have you guys for another topic.
Anytime.
Thank you so much. Here in Holy Spanglish, we love you guys. Thank you so much for all the love. Bye.